Hi guys, my name is Sarah and I'm going to be discussing my campus case study consultation. I interviewed Pam Lytell, who is an associate director at Parkland College. Pam discussed a situation in where a student came in saying that he was in dire need of money and could not afford to put food on his table, to pay rent, or to pay for books or gas money to get to class. He had exceeded his student loans and he needed another way of being able to get money for the semester. Pam mentioned a parent loan and having the student have their parents fill out a Parent Plus loan information so that they could take out a parent loan and use this money to pay for the student's expenses. Noting that the loan would have to be starting to be paid on immediately and that the parent would have to fill out the form with their information and signature. The student took the form, came back 15 minutes later with it signed and handed it in. Pam made note that the parent was not with the student and that the parent and student are both from out of state. So she knew that the form was signed illegally by the student. So some of the moral themes in this case is, does Pam accept the form knowing that it's signed illegally? Or does she contact the appropriate authorities or her supervisor and make a decision on where she should go from here? Some of the conflicts in this case would be accepting the form, knowing that it could cause great harm to the parents' financial state down the road if they do not know that this form was forged and do not know they should be paying on a loan. Or should she accept the form knowing the student is in great dire need of food and money to get through the semester? So the major stakeholders in this case are going to be obviously the student, the parents, and this is going to be affecting them, the financial aid office, including the associate director in this case, and also the campus, the institution, because if the parent comes back knowing this form was signed illegally, they can always sue the campus, and that can cause dire financial loss in the future. So some foreseeable consequences include accepting this form and knowing that it's signed illegally, and possibly down the road having to deal with legal problems involving your knowledge of knowing the form was signed illegally, or accepting the form and knowing that this student will be able to successfully complete the semester now that they have food on the table and a way to get to class and pay for their books. So some alternatives to this would be contacting the students' parents and asking for verification of the forms so that we know what is correct and what is not correct on the form, and to even know if the parent knows the form was signed. You could also possibly think about redoing the whole form and requiring a notary to be there to sign the forms and have it be legally signed so we know who is signing the forms at that time. So an important background to think about with this is that the student in their mind is thinking, I need money, I need to find a way to pay for classes, I need to be able to do this, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that my classes and my lifestyle is paid for at this time. Some of my initial feelings included immediately thinking that this was wrong. The student should have this form be shredded, and the student should have some sort of legal action for forging a signature on a very important document. I then went back to thinking, well, when I was in his shoes as an undergraduate student and money was tight, I would have done pretty much anything to help put food on my table and to help pay for my books and my classes. So some professional code of ethics. If I was to act in this case, let's skip to that one first. If I was to be the character in this case, I would bring in my supervisor, ask for assistance in helping to figure out the situation to see what my next steps would be to make the correct ethical decision. And then I would go back to our professional code of ethics and look at those steps. I went back to the NASPA's website and found a code of ethics that said we are to assist students and ethical decision making and make referrals to more experienced staff when needed. And I think that's very important in this situation, by contacting the supervisor to figure out your next step. But I also went to the National Association of Student Financial Aid Administrators and looked at their statement of ethical principles and found one that really stood out to me in this case, which is to refrain from taking any action that he or she believes is contrary to law, regulations, or the best interest of the student or parents he or she is assisting. So in this case, it's very important that the associate director know that what she is doing is correct and not to do something that she knows will harm the student or the parent in this situation. In the end, Pam ended up contacting the students' parents to verify information on the form. The parent let them know that they had no knowledge of this form and they had not signed any paperwork, and the form was eventually shredded. The student was taken down to the dean of students and received disciplinary actions for their actions of signing this form illegally. Pam says from now on, they are looking into having a notary available to make sure these forms are verified, signed by the parents. But in cases where she is still unsure of the situation, she does call the parents to make sure that the form is verified. Thank you for watching.